What's up, everyone? Welcome back to King Anime Review, and for this video I will be reviewing episode 195 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, titled A Vase. Now, this episode adapted chapter 28 of the Boruto manga, and it was a pretty accurate adaptation. Most of the stuff that happened in the episode was from the manga. In fact, they adapted everything from the manga chapter, but they did add in a couple of scenes. So the only thing that was added in was Naruto taking Kawaki to the ramen shop. That was the only extra scene added in. The other scenes were all from the manga, with maybe some change in dialogue here and there. But yeah, so the episode started off with Kawaki and Naruto walking around the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto showed Kawaki around the Hidden Leaf Village. They stopped to get a snack, and they ran into Chocho and Sarada there. Chocho was like, "Is that the guy I think he is?" And Sarada said, "Yeah." So obviously Chocho must have found out about him. I guess people been talking about him or whatever. And yeah, they got a snack. Naruto paid for everything. He paid for them to get a whole bunch of that. I think it's called Tanaki or something like that. He paid a whole bunch of money for them to get that. I mean, I don't know how much money, but he got them a lot of that little treat. And then they were walking to Ino's flower shop, and Sarada, Kawaki, and Naruto was walking to Ino's flower shop, and a kid bumped into Kawaki on their way there, and Kawaki scared him. So I did a little bit more analyzing from that scene, because like I said in my last review, I thought they was gonna cut that scene out, but yeah, I did some a little bit more analysis, and I don't think that scene actually does any. I don't think it's actually bad that they had that in there. I was thinking that was probably gonna cut that out, because in the manga, it looked like Kawaki almost tried to kill that kid, but in the anime, Kawaki was just trying to teach that kid to listen. So I think that was the case in the manga as well. But anyways, it's not. Kawaki wasn't intending to kill the kid. He was just trying to scare the kid, to teach him a lesson. And when Sarada asked him why he do that later on, he said, "I was teaching him a valuable life lesson," because he actually told the kid that, playing around, it's okay to play around, but you got to be careful, because there's danger lurking around every corner. And so yeah, Kawaki was trying to teach the kid a lesson. It doesn't contradict anything that we've seen him do in the anime thus far, because in the anime, he had to change the direction of his karma blast because it was a kid right there. But in this scene, he wasn't actually trying to kill the kid. He was just trying to teach the kid a lesson, and he was trying to scare the kid to teach him a lesson. So to teach what he thought was a valuable life lesson. So then they went to the Ino's flower shop, and they picked out a flower. They picked out a vase for Himawari. But while they were looking at the vase, while Kawaki was the one who picked out the vase, and while he was looking at it, and while Ino was about to put some flowers in there, he got a flashback to what happened in his past with the whole experiments that he was forced to undergo to receive the karma seal, and the whole situation with Jigen giving him the karma seal. He had a flashback to that, and clearly that's his PTSD kicking in, and yeah, he had a traumatic experience in the past that reminded him of that. The whole the vase and the flowers being put into it was a similar type of thing to what happened in his past, as far as it was similar to how Jigen had Kawaki had those tubes connected to that vase that he was that was giving Kawaki, transferring the karma seal to Kawaki. So yeah, that was also in the manga. And then Sarada and Ino actually got to see, so Kawaki actually dropped the vase after he got that flashback, and he looked extremely scared, or just he looked really traumatized, and Naruto went to hug him. He told Kawaki to relax. He's safe now, and he hugged Kawaki. Sarada, it's actually cool that Sarada actually got to see that happen, because she got to see that, it's cool that they had that in there, because she got a little to know Kawaki a little bit better, and obviously she found out that he has PTSD, that he had a pretty bad past, and you know she can start developing sympathy for him because she thought he was kind of acting like it seemed like she was kind of mad at him throughout the episode, like, because he was kind of acting like a jerk to her. Uh, yeah, he was kind of acting like a jerk, but yeah, so it was cool that she got to see that. Also got to see that, but then they ended up getting a vase and leaving the shop, and Sarada told Kawaki that her goal is to become Hokage. So if there's anything he needs, he can ask her, and she'll help him out with anything he needs. And then she left, and then the extra scene that they added in there was them going to was Naruto and Kawaki going to the ramen shop, and while he was at the ramen shop, Naruto told Kawaki about how he should have shared his treat, his Tanaki or whatever that's called. He should have shared that with Sarada, because Sarada might have shared her treat with Kawaki after that, because Sarada did ask, or it seemed like she wanted to try it out, because she said she never had the chocolate one. And yeah, so Naruto was trying to teach Kawaki a lesson, and then he tried to trade egg with Kawaki, or tried to get an egg from Kawaki in exchange for a piece of meat. And Kawaki's like, yeah, I don't do that thing. I don't do that sharing thing. But yeah, Kawaki was saying like he doesn't need friends, and Naruto's like, you'll understand someday. But us manga readers, we know what's gonna happen. So yeah, but at this point, Kawaki's still at a you can see that he's still having a hard, like, he's still not necessarily trusting. He's still having a hard time trusting people. He's still kind of cynical, and obviously that's because of his past. So yeah, I know I went through this pretty quickly, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened in the episode. Then at the end, Kawaki gave the vase to Himawari, and Boruto was like, I'll acknowledge your sincerity, but here's my answer. And he handed him some glue, and he was like, you know what to do with that, right? And then Kawaki, he went to the back where the vase was, and yeah, he seemed like he was pretty mad, but he know what to do. He gotta put that vase back together, because apparently that little green vase that he got is not. I don't think it really satisfied Himawari. She was just looking at it, but yeah. So Kawaki obviously is gonna be putting that vase back together. So overall, as far as the story go, oh yeah, and one last thing. So Kashin Koji, he actually was able to go into the Hidden Leaf Village without a problem. They talked about how the sensory unit how the Hidden Leaf Village is more aware of. Since they're more cautious of Korra now, and that's what Kashin Koji said. And because of that, they are enhancing the sensory unit and stuff like that. And he basically said that if your chakra's not registered, they'll know they'll know right away. So, and then Delta was wondering why Kashin Koji was able to easily get in, because she can't, because her chakra's not registered in the village. So yeah, that should give you guys a hint about Kashin Koji. But yeah, so yeah, at the end of the episode, Kashin Koji was he was thinking about Kawaki, and yeah, he was in the Hidden Leaf Village. So yeah, that's what happened in the episode. Overall, I think it was a nice episode. I'm moving the story along. Kawaki was being kind of rude throughout the episode, but at the same time, you guys got to keep in mind, you got to remember why he's like that, his backstory, and he just has a really hard time at trusting people, and he doesn't really get along with anybody. He has a hard time trusting people. So we're still seeing him starts to develop relationships with people for the first time, and start to develop positive relationships and trust with people and bonds with people. So he's still in that phase where, because of his past, he's still hesitant about trusting anybody. And that's why he thinks he doesn't need friends, or he doesn't want friends or whatever. But obviously, we're going to see him develop throughout the course of the anime. So yeah, right now I think they're doing a great job in terms of story, as far as how they're adapting the story from the manga. I think they're doing a great job. And they've been doing a great job for, in general. I think the Boruto anime is great in general. But in particular, since we got into, basically since the whole core actuation arc, they've been doing a very, very fantastic job with the story. And this episode is no exception. It was another fantastic episode in terms of the story of this episode. 10 out of 10 in terms of story. In terms of animation, 10 out of 10. But in terms of artwork, there was scenes where, once again, characters' faces looked weird. And it was a scene, like, for example, Kawaki's nose looked extremely like the bridge of his nose looked extremely big and stuff. So, yeah, it was scenes where in the episode, characters looked a little bit weird. You know, Kawaki's, you know, the Roman numeral on his face looked inconsistent throughout the episode. Like, at one time it was super thick. Other times it was skinnier, etc. Sarada's Uchiha crest, you know, looked at kind of off in the episode. But these are all little small nitpicks. But what I will say is, throughout the entire episode, although the majority of the episode had good artwork as usual, but there was a little bit more scenes of, you know, those, you know, weird looking artwork scenes. So yeah, there was a couple of those weird looking shots of the artwork. So last week's episode, that was the same. That was the case in last week's episode as well, and I gave it an 8 out of 10, I believe, for the artwork. So this episode, I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 as well for the artwork. Yeah, like I said, it was a couple of scenes where the artwork was looking a little bit weird, but overall, 10 out of 10. Obviously, the story is the most important part of the anime and of the series in general. You know, the story is the most important part. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Animation was 10 out of 10, but overall, story 10 out of 10, animation 10 out of 10, and art 8 out of 10. But overall, 10 out of 10 episode overall. Another fantastic episode of Boruto. And yeah, one interesting thing about the preview is they had Mitsuki and Sarada in Boruto in the Uzumaki house in the preview, while Kawaki was looking at the vase, and they had that same vase that Kawaki bought at the Yamanaka clan flower shop. They had that vase there on a table, and Kawaki was looking at it and it had flowers in it. So I am confused about what they're doing, because that wasn't in the manga. In the manga, Sarada and Mitsuki weren't in the Uzumaki house in that chapter where Kawaki was putting the vase back together. They weren't there. So what it seems like is going on is, it seems like the anime is going to try to add in a lot more Sarada and Mitsuki scenes, because in the manga, during these early chapters, that everything that happened in this episode with Kawaki and Sarada, all those interactions, those were in the manga. But as far as Kawaki putting the vase together, he did that by himself. So the Sarada and Mitsuki wasn't there. So it seems like the anime is going to try to add in a lot more Sarada and Mitsuki scenes, because in the manga, during this arc, they didn't get that much, you know, they didn't get shown that much in the manga during this arc until we got into the fighting and stuff. But aside from the fighting, that wasn't shown that much in these, you know, early Kawaki arc chapters. So I don't get why they added that in there, but you know, I'll see how that plays out next week. Yeah, anyways, I'm interested to see what happens, what's gonna happen in next week's episode, because it does look like the anime is changing some things up. But anyways, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you liked the video, drop a like and click that channel notification bell to be notified on all of my future videos, and drop a comment and let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section below. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.